So do you want to, should we look at the camera?
Um,
Should we look at each other? Should we look at you? Should we just
Look at
dim
me,
this
and
way?
I'll
Okay.
get people. Um, I'll get people in here. All right, welcome in, everybody. Welcome in, everybody. We're gonna wait till the room gets filled, and hopefully, if you are watching, we don't have any viewers yet. But first of all, how's everybody doing this morning?
Good. While people are joining us, we can sort of give an update on what's latest with,
Absolutely.
with, with the big storm.
Yep.
So it was interesting to see the computer models come in this morning. Very little change. We're still looking at predominantly freezing rain, and it's enough freezing rain to be really concerning. Lots of widespread power outages. But the subtle change that happened this morning with the models is the long range models, the American and the European that you hear us talk about. Try to sneak in a little bit more snow. It's less than an inch. It's not something that's going to cause major changes to what happens. Maybe a little bit more sleet. If we see that, there are pros and cons to that. The more sleet and snow we see, probably the worse the roads will get. But we're talking the triangle area northward, so it's not the whole viewing area. But the positive to that, the more snow and sleet we see, the less ice accumulation. But in no way, shape, or form does it look like we're getting off with, less than, with enough of a drop in amounts that it changes the way this is going to go. I mean, it still looks like a major ice storm for us.
Yeah, they just put out the winter storm warning for a couple of our counties, Orange and Person counties, and then Alamance, just to the west, is included in that as well. And I think a lot of our western counties, I think they're going to slowly add those on as we get closer to when the precipitation will move in. I think it's because they'll probably see the precipitation first, possibly in the morning hours tomorrow, but I think the majority of it for most of our area comes late in the day, and we'll go into more detail about that. But yeah, it was interesting to see the global models introduce that, and then we got that latest run of the high resolution models towards the end of our shows this morning, and that was showing kind of in line with what we were thinking. I mean, some spots could see over half of an inch of freezing rain. And the ice accumulation with that could be seriously concerning for travel and for power infrastructure and things like that.
Another thing that I've seen today, I've had a couple of people who are friends of mine reach out to me, like, text or social media and
Mhm.
say, I was talking to a friend who thinks this is not going to happen. And I've seen a lot
Yeah.
of comments about that as well.
Right.
So we kind of have a heavy lift to say, hey, this is real. But there's so much on, there's some YouTube pages out there
Yep.
and
Yeah.
other social media pages where people are trying to make money off of weather. And so
Yeah.
in order to catch your attention, they're showing you, the worst case scenario of the worst of the worst of the worst of the weather, in some part of the country. And so I think there's some desensitization going on. I
True.
also think that if you've never been through an ice storm, you really don't know what to expect. And when we say half an inch of ice, if you think of a half an inch of snow, I mean, that's nothing.
Yeah.
But half an inch of ice is so much ice
Right.
in terms of the way that, it's
We
going
already got some chats.
Oh,
Okay, sounds
excellent.
good.
Got some
Awesome.
chats.
Very good. Let's go for it.
Yo, it's KC. Wondering where you're out. Shout out to you. Keep an eye open on next weekend, but we're not going to talk about next weekend. We're going to get through this weekend
Yeah.
first.
Yeah.
What is worse, sleet or freezing rain? Yeah, Connor out of Raleigh. What is worse, sleet or freezing rain?
Do you want to take that one?
Yeah, I mean, I think freezing rain is going to cause more concerns for us. I feel like sleet, those are those ice pellets that they'll still accumulate and you'll still have road concerns. But with freezing rain, that's when you get more of that even glaze on our roads, and we could see more widespread black ice. And so I would say freezing rain probably be more of a concern.
Well, and just in general, too, the freezing rain's what's going to cause the power outages.
Right.
And
Right.
to me, I feel like the power outages are going to be a bigger deal
Yeah.
than the roads. People
True.
can stay at home, but if you're staying
Right.
at home with temperatures in the 20s and you have
Yeah.
no power, and then people, in the ice storms that I've seen, people don't know what to do. And as much as we can get the message out, don't use unsafe heating sources. Like,
Mhm.
don't take a camp stove inside and
Yep.
use it. Anything that is intended for outside can cause carbon monoxide poisoning.
Right.
And unfortunately, we see that every ice storm. Unfortunately, we tend to see people, suffering or die from carbon monoxide poisoning. So, that freezing rain is not good
Right.
at all.
So let's see who else we got. Billy says, hello, thank you for what you guys do. Stay safe out there in the station. You guys want to talk a
Thanks,
little
Billy.
bit about our preparations here in-house? Shout out to Miss D. Miss D takes very good
Yes.
care of us.
Yeah.
And we're loaded up on food, and we have bunk assignments. You guys want to talk a little bit about even then, Elizabeth, you've done this before.
So
Yeah.
it's interesting. So I was just in a planning meeting just 10 minutes ago before this started, and they're starting to talk about that. And I've been at WRAL for 28 years. Oh my goodness, how? But anyway, we have never set up bunk rooms here before. So they're going to send some people to hotels. You're going to have the
Yeah.
option to stay here and, have cots set up in places. They're going to have food all through the event. But they're really being extra careful. I think they're putting the cots up here because they really don't want anyone to drive at all.
Yeah.
So, if you don't want to drive out there, which is smart, you can stay right here.
Yeah, and I mean, my plan is, I don't live that far away, but we live in an area that is very hilly. We have a lot of shaded spots. I have a lot of shaded spots just on the way to my apartment. And so I would rather just not risk it, as folks at home should also not risk it. My plan is to take clothes for probably 3 to 4 days and just... I'll bring my air mattress from home. Thankfully, it's a comfy air mattress.
Yes.
Not as comfy as a bed, but it works. And just camp out here. Obviously, our entire team is going to be covering it in shifts throughout the course of the weekend and the start of next week. So we want to be right there so we can immediately do whatever we need to do, whether it be social media posting, whether it be getting new graphics put in. There's so many moving pieces on a day-to-day shift, but also on an event like this. We want to make sure people are prepared. So.
Absolutely. Also, the seriousness of this. So, me personally, I'm from Missouri. Went through this with a couple ice storms and in that regard. So, I think like the seriousness of ice over snow. And some people on social media, on my social media feeds, they're upset that the snow forecast went from 2 feet of snow now to less than an inch, and
We are too.
now ice and things like that. But it's like, hey, this is kind of like serious. And I was like, you guys should not be outside. There's a high probability you're going to lose power, and also that there's a high probability that you need to prep with this cold. It's going to be cold, and your house is going to lose heat pretty fast. Oh, we got a couple chats. Summer 2025. School on Monday, on with ice on the road Sunday night. There's a little bit of an echo. When was the last time our area saw this amount of ice?
So it was 2002, early December, and I remember that one vividly. And we may have had a little bit of icing between now and then, but that was the last big one. And I think I ended up staying in the hotel the first night. But the next day the sun came out. We had about a half to 3/4 of an inch of ice, and my whole neighborhood lost power. And we're pretty close to downtown. But within a day or so, I thought, well, we're close to downtown. Our power, they're going to come to us first, right? And sure enough, I'm driving into the neighborhood, and it's just a little before Christmas. Christmas lights are twinkling. I'm like, oh, shoot, thank goodness. And I made 2 turns through the neighborhood to my street. My street was dark. And then I thought, oh no, small pockets, they're not coming back to us anytime soon. And I think we were out maybe 3 or 4 days. My neighbor who had a tree fall on their line on their property was out 2 weeks, which was just awful. But a lot of people will remember, they were without power for 5 days or for a week. It was a lot. My question is, we have that new self-healing technology with the power grid. And my understanding, and I may be totally wrong with this, but power from one place, if it goes out here, power from another, like transformer or whatever, will push power to the areas where it's out. But I wonder if we have widespread outages, if that would work at all. I don't know the answer to that.
Oh, man. Questions are rolling in. Carol Lee, hopefully I'm saying your name right. Love to know where you're coming from. Drop your location in the chat. Can you compare this to the December 2005 ice storm? And then Caleb Dillon, why are some sources still showing 6 inches of snow on Sunday?
So you take the 6 inch
Okay, sure.
because that one's that one drives us crazy.
Yeah, and a lot of that I think I've seen from either other weather apps or built-in apps on your phone. And it has a really hard time because it's all probably mostly AI and computer driven. There's not a lot of human input in those apps. So what it's doing is it's just taking the computer models, the raw data, and saying, okay, based off this raw data that we're getting, this is neglecting biases that forecast models have because we went through schooling to learn about those things. It neglects that. It just says, okay, based off of this, we're going to see this amount, and spits out a number. It's just raw numbers, and it's spitting it out, and it's probably using AI and other technologies to give that information. And so, I mean, I even saw yesterday, it was still saying, I think 6 to 8 inches of snow in Raleigh. And this morning with our forecast and with National Weather Service forecast, they said the upper bound, National Weather Service said the upper bound was 1 inch of snow.
Yeah, and I think we would be surprised if we see an inch of snow. We'll see, but it's not likely to be any more than that. But that's why it's so important to download the WRAL Weather app, because it's our forecast and nothing but our forecast. It's not, none of it is, is a computer model. It's the forecast that you see on WRAL, which comes from all of us working together on it. So
I mean, every single shift we come in and we're making adjustments all the time. I mean, even in the middle of the shift today, I was like, when we want to add a weather alert day to Tuesday because it's going to be so cold, make an adjustment there. Now on the app, you see that adjustment, and we adjust the temperatures as we go. And we are always making adjustments that are human based. These are not the computer throwing numbers, and it's us manually doing this. So
yes, and we do need the computer to give us some guidance, but that is not a perfect forecast. It's only guidance.
Right.
A forecast is when you sit down and you look at what the guidance is, and okay, we've lived here for X amount of time. We've seen these sort of weather patterns, and we know what's more likely to happen here. So it's a curated forecast.
Yep.
Oh man, we got some more good questions. We got Mason down the street at NC State. What are the ice totals possible and snow totals for us?
Great.
And then we got another one, John. What should we do if we lose power for several days and lose heat indoors quickly? Are there warming shelters?
So let's start with numbers, and I can go over the numbers.
Yeah.
So we're looking at anywhere from 1/2 inch to probably 3/4 of an inch of ice. And if anybody was around, not a lot of people were, in the 2002 event, that caused widespread power outages. So many people lost power for such a long time. And snow totals are going to be minimal. Sleet is a possibility as well. So it may start Saturday evening up till midnight or so as a mix of snow and sleet in some places. That's going to make the roads really slippery. Then we're going to change over to all freezing rain. Now, if you're south and east of Raleigh, it's probably going to be maybe a little sleet and mostly freezing rain, but it may end as rain. And so, say around Fayetteville or Clinton, there may be 1/4 of an inch of ice, whereas from Raleigh north and west, we're probably looking at, 1/2 an inch to 3/4 of an inch. And then we have the other question, which was what to do. So the main thing is stay safe. And by that, we mean if you have a camp stove, don't use that to heat. Right. Don't try to cook with a camp stove inside. Carbon monoxide poisoning. That's the main thing. Do not do anything that would cause carbon monoxide poisoning in your house. Beyond that, if you have a grill outside, cook on your grill. If you want to save what's in your refrigerator or freezer, take your cooler, put all of that in the cooler and just set it outside because the temperature will be cold enough to keep it cool. Warming yourself is another problem. Again, it's really hard to warm yourself in your house without endangering yourself, except for blankets and things like that. My neighbor, fortunately, has a wood stove. Lucky us, we may go camp out with her wood stove.
Sounds great. Yes.
The problem with shelters is once this begins, if the roads get bad, you can't go to a shelter. So it's hard to use a shelter, or it's hard to go to a friend or a relative's house once the roads are bad.
I think making preparations today is the best bet if you haven't already made preparations. And any information about shelters or anything else will be on our website on WRAL.com. We're constantly updating that information. Our digital team does an awesome job of constantly keeping that kind of stuff updated. So if you search up, shelters in the search bar on WRAL.com, we'll have that. Or if you see some information that might be missing, that we need to add on to there, you can always submit that on Report It on WRAL.com, and we'll find that information for you. We're always trying to make sure you have all the latest information on no matter what it is. So
And I want to reiterate, maybe you've never done this before, you've never lived through an ice storm. On WRAL.com is a list of things that you should have in your home
Right.
For preps, different kinds of foods that you can have, that you don't have to cook, if you've never thought of that before. It's a great resource.
Not to call out Adam, but Adam hit on earlier. I'm planning on sitting in my truck with the heat on if it gets too cold.
There's nothing wrong with that
Yeah.
as long as your truck isn't in a garage or an enclosed space.
Yeah.
At some point, you'll run out of gas, but as long as you're not in a closed-in space, I don't see anything wrong with that.
no.
Oh, okay, AOC. What churches would churches be a good place to shelter? And what if we have pets? What's recommended?
That's a good question. Again, I think WRL.com is probably a good resource for that.
Mhm.
I think any places that are offering shelter, if they get that information to us, we'll put it on WRL.com.
Mhm.
I don't know of any. Reach out to a church that's in your neighborhood. Give them a call, and they may be able to let you know.
Yeah, and for pets, I think it's important to, if you have outdoor pets that are typically outside, make sure they're inside. There are no outdoor pets during an event like this because it's just way too cold for them to be out for a prolonged period of time, especially when we have wintry precipitation. That will make the matters even worse. So make sure they're brought inside, and make sure they have if they have little coats or blankets even, make sure to cover them up in blankets and stuff like that. They definitely do enjoy that, especially if they have, a lighter coat. I know some dogs are used to it, but others are not so built for the cold. So make sure they have plenty of layers, and just, please take care of them like you would your family.
Yeah. Cuddle time.
Yes.
Okay, they was asking me to share the list. For anyone with resources, guys, I apologize. Don't have those lists, like all the resources right in front of me. I would love to drop those in the chat for you guys. But really stay tuned to WRL.com. We're going to have tons of things. What we're doing is we have a little bit of a web strategy where we try to keep things in one cohesive place for you. So that weather story that you see pinned on our page is going to have all the most of the resources that you're going to need. It's going to have all the forecasts. It's going to be your one-stop shop that you want to really keep pinned and bookmarked for this whole weather event. So hopefully that helps you a little bit with organizing, not getting overwhelmed.
Yeah.
I will recommend, narrow your sources, find people that you trust. You guys could trust these guys. You could chat with them, follow them on Facebook, follow them on Instagram, keep up with us. We'll be, so far, what is our continuous coverage plan? We plan to be live for an extended period of time throughout this weekend.
Yeah.
So you're not going to be left alone.
Yeah, so we'll start in the evening. It may be as early as 4:30. It may be a little bit later than that. Our evening newscast starts at 6,
Mhm.
so it wouldn't be any later than that. And then we may or may not be in continuing coverage overnight Sunday night, but
We'll play by ear.
probably, and then possibly all the way, into Monday.
And then also, you guys can watch these streams right here on the YouTube channel. We have the News Plus live stream. You're going to not miss a moment, and we'll have all the closing shelters, all that information on there.
Mhm.
You can catch us on News Plus on the WR Weather app, which is free wherever you get your apps. Where else can you watch us? You can watch us on linear TV. If you lose power and have a radio, you're going to have a radio. Oh, more questions. Carol Lee, we love you. We love you. Keep the questions coming. Hopefully I'm saying your name right. In Charlotte, does it make it better sense to keep a vehicle outside a garage in case power goes out, or keep it inside so it doesn't freeze over?
If it were me, I would keep it inside so it doesn't freeze over, just because you probably shouldn't be driving. Hopefully you're not driving, so you
Mhm.
don't need to, I guess her question is, if the power goes out, can you get it out of the garage? Well, hopefully you're not getting it out of the garage anyway to drive anywhere, so I'd leave it inside so it doesn't get coated in ice.
All right, NC Rob, you are live. Send that. Originally from Wilson, now in Sylvia, west of Asheville, seeing that we may get some rain here with that cut down on our potential icing. I guess, where is that warm nose really going to push up?
Yeah, the warm nose looks like it'll start to really move into the area late in the day on Saturday at first. We could see some mixed precipitation early in the day. So looking at the forecast for the mountains, because I actually just recorded some radio forecasts for the mountains. And it looks like there could be a wintry mix at first. So snow for part of the day, and then that mixes in with some sleet, and then mixes in with some freezing rain. I think towards the mountains, it's more so going to be a mix of sleet with some freezing rain. And then as you move east, where you get some more of that warm nose from the mass warming, coming off of the ocean, you're going to have a mix of freezing rain with areas to our south and east, closer to like Fayetteville, and then down towards like Wilmington and those areas, they'll see more so rain. So that's where the warm nose has been trending over the past, I would say, 36 to 48 hours probably, with the majority of the ice storm, the major ice storm, affecting the triangle and points to the west, back towards the Triad region. So yeah, I think you'll have a wintry mix at first. He's west of Asheville? Is that where that's where he's located?
Yeah. He said, "Thank you very much."
Yeah.
Got you, John.
Yeah.
My fault, Rob. I apologize.
Yeah. So yeah, west of Asheville, wintry mix at first, and then sleet mixing with freezing rain. That's what. That's how things have been trending over the past 24 hours.
Right, and we got John. John, where are you from? Is it expected for water to be unavailable? Is losing power more probable?
That's a good question about water. I don't think that you lose water when
Mhm.
you lose power unless you are in a rural area and you're on a well.
Yeah.
So if you have a well or a spring, then when you lose power, you lose water. But I think if you're on city water, that you don't lose it, so you're fine.
I'm asking him, did we answer your question? Just want to make sure we're clear and we answer it. But losing power is probable.
Yeah,
with
that's looking
Losing
more
power,
likely.
everybody needs to plan on losing power.
Yeah.
Not every single person in our viewing area will, but your chances are high, and you want to be prepared for it in case it's you.
Mhm. Exactly. We're coming up on 21 minutes. Any other popular questions? We can go a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Guys, if you're watching, please drop your questions in the chat. We'd love to talk with you. And we'll probably try to do this again, maybe periodically throughout the storm.
Yeah.
I call this a success, and we love engaging with the audience.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes,
We love you guys. So thank you guys so much for watching again. What are some concerns? Okay, Tammy Green. How long could we expect roads to be impassable if we get 0.5 to 0.75 inches of ice?
So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out.
Yep.
Some of that will depend on where you are. Did she say where she's
No, she
checking
did
out
not
from?
say where she was from. Tammy, where you from? Would love to know.
Yeah. Well, I'll just kind of talk about the entire viewing area. If you're south of Raleigh, you're probably not getting any snow, maybe a little bit of sleet. That's going to, once you have ice on top of it, make things pretty tricky. The farther north you go, so say from Raleigh northward, if we get a half an inch of snow and a little bit of sleet there, and then it changes over to freezing rain, it's going to get pretty tricky.
Tammy's in Durham.
She's in Durham. Okay, so you're going to have the chance of some snow and some sleet to start with. The temperature is going to be below freezing all the way until Monday.
Yeah.
So whatever falls, it's either going to become icy on the roads, or there's going to be some snow there. I think by Wednesday in the sunshine, we should be doing pretty well. But in shady places, it may still be slippery, into Thursday.
Yeah.
All right, we got two really good questions. Actually, Michael from Briar Creek, a statement. Hoping everyone will be safe. We'll be watching news as long as I have power. And if you don't have power, make sure your phone's charged. Watch us on YouTube. Watch us and download the WRAL app. You can watch us there. Also on the radio. Get you a hand crank radio. We're going old school out here.
It is old school.
We say cuckoo. I don't know how to say that, but hello, I'm new to the area in Cary. I plan to stay at home. Should I worry about salting my driveway?
If you plan to stay inside, I don't think you need to necessarily stress about salting your driveway. Now, if you are in a position where you have no choice, but you have to go to work. I know there are some, essential workers that will still have to go in, like nurses and first responders and things like that. If you have to go out, it would not be a bad idea to put some solution on your driveway. That way you can more easily get out, because I know driveways sometimes with the shade of your home might have a better chance to have, icing. It's going to be so cloudy this weekend that, any ice that develops is going to be hard to melt from the the sun melting it, radiation, or temperatures. We're gonna be at or below freezing for a lot of the events. So, it wouldn't be a bad idea to put some solution on the driveway ahead of time if you have to go out for some reason. If you don't have to go out and you can work from home or can just stay at home, I don't think it's a big deal.
All right. Oh, whoa. Hopefully I'm saying that right. This has been very helpful. I survived Helene just in time to move back to the Triangle for this storm. So I really appreciate the live stream. We appreciate you.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Thanks for watching.
Carol Lee out of Charlotte again. Used to be you can get notifications of closings via text or over the radio. Now everything's on apps. Anywhere we can sign up for closing notifications. I can imagine you're asking for text messages. Is there anything with the National Weather Service possibly? Direct line maybe?
Not the weather service for school closings, but I'm not sure if our station still has a text service for school closings anymore.
Yeah,
we might have used to. I'm not sure.
It's a good idea though.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Mhm.
I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah.
We can find that out.
Email us. Who had that question? Carol Lee. Email us, report it, or go on WRAL.com/report it. Drop it in the chat, and then that email goes to our whole entire team. We'll figure it out for you.
Yep.
That's why we're here for. Let's see. We're coming up on 25 minutes. Any other last questions in the chat? We'll give them for a second. Oh, Fun Factor Gaming. I recently moved from Cali to NC. I have no fireplace. If I lose power and can only bundle to keep warm, will I be okay?
So I'm going to be in the same position. I don't have a fireplace that works. I have one, but it needs a little repair because I live in an old house. So, but I have neighbors 2 doors down that have a wood stove, and so I may be down there hanging out with them. If you don't have any neighbors, you're new to town. It's a tricky situation. There are not really a lot of good solutions. Just make sure that you've got lots of blankets. Do what you can.
Yeah.
It's hard to have a safe source of heat that's inside your house when you have power outages.
All right.
I was looking at some of our questions that some folks on Report It had asked earlier today. Someone lives in North Raleigh, and they were wondering, in their specific area, they don't have as many lines that are above ground. A lot of their lines are below ground. So they were curious as to, what does that look like for them? Are they still going to have power even though they don't have a lot of lines underground?
They should.
Yeah, they
all
should.
those neighborhoods that are outside, of downtown and a little farther out from the middle of town, should be in much better shape than like my neighborhood, which is an old neighborhood that has a lot of power lines above ground. So yeah, I hadn't even thought of that.
Yeah.
That, they're going to be, probably a number of people that aren't going to have this issue because their power lines are buried. So
that is the one benefit of some of the new construction is they've been burying the lines a lot. It's just I remember we talked about this with the older neighborhoods to pay to have to go in and do all that work. It is a lot. It's a lot of I'm sure it'd be a lot of work for the city and stuff like that to get all that handled. So yeah.
And I forgot about this reported questions. Did we have any other ones?
Yeah, there was another one talking about what can people do ahead of time if they have a lot of trees surrounding their home? Like if they're worried about maybe limbs on their, it's really up to your discretion. And if you see limbs or different parts of the trees that could overhang over a part of your home where people might be living, either if you can go out and trim it today, do it. But if you can't, then you might want to avoid being in that general area of the home throughout the duration of the event, because if the ice ends up weighing down that limb and then the limb caves in and comes on your roof or something like that, and it breaks a part of your home, you don't want to have someone sleeping there or staying there. So I think just use your own discretion. If you see those limbs that could be in a place that could fall into your home, avoid it or trim them.
Yeah, it may be a little bit too late for that.
Yeah, probably.
But it's a good thing to think about for the future. Look around. Do you have limbs that you wish you could cut? Call a tree person to come tree service. Another thing that you want to watch, like in my neighborhood, we have a lot of trees. Watch where your car is parked. If you don't have a garage, park it in a place where it's not under a tree that might fall on it.
Oh, right. First of all, how much more time do we have?
I've got another 10 minutes.
I'm good.
Okay, cool. We'll
Way.
go JV. I can imagine you're out of Wilmington. What should the lower outer banks in Wilmington are expect? I know you guys put slick on the maps. It's going to be kind of slick down there. What do
Yeah,
we have that?
Could
off
have
the
some
top?
slick spots. Fortunately for that area, it's been trending more towards rain. Yeah, a lot of really trending towards rain for the majority of the event. Now there could be some mixed precip that works its way in, especially earlier in the event before the warm nose really starts to push in. But I think for the majority of the event, it will be rain. Now the only concern will be if you have moisture left over on the roads and your temperatures get below freezing overnight, you could have some slick spots. That's going to be not as much of a concern for areas like Wilmington because temperatures, I think even Sunday afternoon, because of their location by the low, will be actually quite warm. Could get into the 50s.
The models have really been trending yet by Sunday
Yeah.
that, it's all rain along the coast. So if you're there, you're going to be in much better shape
Yes.
than, being a little bit farther inland.
Okay, we got Silver City over there out west of Fayetteville. What can Silver City NC expect from the storm from Braxton?
So I would say probably a quarter, maybe at the most a half an inch of ice, which still puts you in that window of power outages. It doesn't get you into that more extreme level that we might see from the Triangle area north and west. And down there, you're probably not going to see much of a mix, maybe a little bit of sleet, but it's mostly going to be freezing rain and then changing over to rain as we get into the afternoon on Sunday.
All right, and you know what? I think any other last reported questions you want to talk?
Let me check and make sure there's no more that got sent.
And then Braxton, thank you. Silver City, Chatham County, we love you guys. Thank you so much for watching. And I think we'll
I'm not seeing any more here.
not anymore.
Just checking our reported thing here.
We got this last question. We'll take this last question from Gray. How do you think this weekend will be compared to December 2002 ice storm? Worse, similar, less impactful? And then actually Tammy will be the last one. Safe to assume there will be some RDU disruptions, right? She's flying out Monday morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, there could be some disruptions for
Still
sure.
could be that the airport is saying that they hope to have one runway open
Yes.
the entire time. So but they hope to, and the reality of that might not be.
Yeah.
That's what happened. So yeah, you want to plan on delays and cancellations Sunday, Monday, maybe into Tuesday, but hopefully not.
Yeah.
But the other question was.
All right, we'll wrap up with Gray. How do you think this weekend will compare to December 2002 ice storm? Worse, similar, less impactful?
I'm going to say similar. That one started off with a little bit of snow and sleet, and then ended up with a half to 3/4 of an inch of freezing rain, and we had widespread power outages. So I would say the way things look right now, it would be similar.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think this is it. This has been a success, guys. We
Yeah.
love.
Yeah, thanks so
Yeah, we
much to
appreciate it.
everybody
Yeah.
who tuned in and asked us all the great questions.
Yeah.
So be safe out there, everybody.
Seriously, you guys, this will not be the last time you guys see us. You guys will
Yep.
see us all weekend. We'll be here. We'll be covering like and subscribe. Follow us on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram. You guys will see lots of pictures, things. Also, we're still tracking the monks.
Yes.
That's it. Tell you, we're still tracking the monks. We got a lot of breaking news going on this week. A couple trials. Stay tuned wherever you get WRAL.com. Thank you guys so much for watching. These are your favorites: Elizabeth Gardner, Grant Skinner. Guys, thank you guys so much.
Thank you, Jalen.
Thank you.
All right, let's wrap this up. Stream finished.
Cool.